Last time on World End Economica, they're at a time limit, and especially during the stock market, of getting the goal of the amount of mools to pay off the debt. Anyway, so let's continue reading. Above the trading screen, the words News Announcement appeared. At that moment, I might have peed my pants briefly. My hands moved, putting together all that remained of the funds, remembering it was time to sell it all off. My mind was filled with a strange sense of impatience, nervousness, and even drunkenness as my knees started to shake. I made it in time. I was right, after all. As I caught my breath, the red text of the news announcement disappeared, and the news itself rolled in. The trading screen stopped. Everyone that was involved in trading held their breath, and the numbers on the trading screen stopped moving completely. News announcement, stock number 3201, Carlyle Investment. Hurry, next, what's next? I stared intently at the screen while my body could only react as if there was only bad news to be had. And then the red text continued to scroll by. Today, Carlyle Investment CEO Jack Lunny announced a joint business venture with investment fund with regards to investments for the redevelopment project of the 6 outer section. No words on that. I could not grasp the meaning of those words. Given doubts about maintaining liquidity, he expressed confidence at a press conference that working capital was more than plentiful. What I didn't understand about the meaning of those words was that it wasn't clear just how those words could be utilized. I wasn't sure if it was a deluge of sweat or tears that I wiped away as I looked at the news once more. Capital was provided by Mr. Alan Schwartz, a fund manager at the Notable Investment Fund. Pax Romana, over 2 billion mools were provided, forming the basis for the redevelopment project. I couldn't continue reading after that. All I could do was breathe. The stock price continued to go up until it hit the daily limit. Minus 32% on top of that. This was for just today. If everything in the news was correct, then tomorrow and the day after that, certainly the price would hit the daily limit each time. How much more were the losses going to extend to? If there was nothing to sell, then nothing could be bought back. When it came to margin selling, there were conditions involved if one tried to buy it all back at a later time. I was hit with a strong bout of nausea, but I swallowed deeply and steadied myself as I clicked on the news once more. Impossible. There absolutely has to be a mistake. Please let them be talking about a different stock. I opened up the news announcement. I could swear I heard my heart stop. I wonder if that was how it was supposed to sound. Picture 1, CEO Jack Lunny and Mr. Alan Schwartz. That was all the captions stated. But the one picture there was, without a doubt, Barton. Ah. I wasn't sure if that was breathing or groaning. What I knew was a sound signaled the arrival of an email. Like a trained dog or perhaps a programmed robot, I opened the email. The sender was Barton. You thought with your brain and traded, did you not? A short single sentence. Did I think it through myself? Had I not left it to someone else to help me decide? Had I not left such an important decision for someone else to decide for me? Think less like a machine. Think like a human. The purpose of that was... no words. My vision became dark and I heard the sound of my head hitting my computer screen. Hal! And then I thought I heard Hagana's voice, and that was the last thing I remembered. I found out about everything 4 days after I had fallen into a coma. In the end, our position was at minus 264%, pushing through with 720,000 mools and ending at minus 264% left us with a liability of 2 million mools. There was no point in talking about paying back loans. In the end, the savings of the townspeople was wiped out, and they were then burdened with a debt that they absolutely could not pay. But after Lisa's unhurried explanation, it appeared that it was all reduced to 50,000 mules. In the evening on the day after I collapsed, apparently the phone rang. A man who addressed himself as Barton wanted to liquidate our margin sale position by giving us some stock at a specific value. Bought at that price, the loan ended up at 50,000 mules. Carlisle Investments stock continued to hit the daily high price limit consecutively and couldn't be sold at all. Since the price continued to rise the next day, there was no way that such a proposition would be turned down. Haganah, who knew Barton's name from the mails on my computer, resisted vigorously, but Lisa accepted the terms. Everything was back to normal, or rather, it was better to say that everything was lost, per se. As for Chris's father and all the others who entrusted us with their money, I had thought that they would all come by to kill me, but instead they visited me in my hospital room. And on top of that, they thanked me for letting them dream of the possibilities. That hurt me more than having abusive words hurled at me. They were used to losing, used to falling into despair, and they were strong enough to not bear any ill will towards others. If it weren't for Lisa, I would probably be dead right now. On the other hand, I realized that I couldn't see Haganah anywhere. Haganah had been in the church the whole time, and it appeared that she too had been run ragged. I had taken a lot of emotional shock, and my body wasn't able to move. Once I regained consciousness, I did not return right away. It wasn't until 10 days later that I returned pathetically to the church in a wheelchair. Lisa offered to wheel me. The day the weather was nice on the moon, nicer than any easygoing day. Along the road, Lisa said something nonchalantly. The church, I've decided to sell it. I didn't so much as move. There's still the loan money to deal with. If I just sold what I could, it could take care of everyone's living expenses too. Even if tears formed in my eyes, I did not have the strength to show any sadness. But I'm glad we made it in time to get you discharged from the hospital, and well, I figured it would be a good time for lunch too. Chris may come by as well. Saralt is going to prepare himself some food. Alright, let me reword this. Saralt is going to prepare food himself too. He thinks he is so smart after I taught him how to cook. Lisa continued with small talk. She wasn't faking being happy, and knowing that hurt quite a lot. For Lisa and the others, this had been an everyday thing back on Earth. Just being alive was more than enough, right? And she had experience being able to say things like that with a smile. Saralt looked into things, and just like that, Lisa changed the subjects. Barton, he said, would always do those kinds of things, even when his company got taken over. Barton was one of the people behind the curtains. Saralt said that he had harbored a lot of resentment long ago and seemed about to suffer divine punishment at any moment. But Saralt said he doesn't go in for the killing blow. When he called us, he was probably not trying to pin us against the wall or anything, Saralt said. Is that what you call kindness? I'm not so sure myself, though. Lisa laughed once more. Her laugh was mingled with a sigh, a very fatigued laugh. There are all sorts of people in this world. Yeah, that really is true. I couldn't say for sure that I had been deceived, only because I myself wasn't ready to acknowledge that. Couldn't it have been a misunderstanding or perhaps even a mistake? But in reality, everything was lost. Barton apparently used different aliases for different purposes. Even the census showed each of those aliases. He was the example of a person who could do anything as so long as money and personal connections were available. I had miscalculated my own position, thus I took a great loss. I was willing to accept that. I was just some brat after all. True. But well, we do have our bonds left over, isn't that so, Hal? Lisa reached around from behind me and pinched my cheek. I could not move my body, nor could I change my facial expression. Lisa sighed. Are you mad that I contacted your family? Lisa asked me. We passed by the front of the steamed bun shop. That was where the old lady gave me an extra because she thought that Chris was too skinny and gassed me to give her one. Without doubting me an ounce, she had handed me a 3-mule bun. I was surprised by that, yet why did I think Barton would so easily divulge information worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of moles. This was hubris. Since it's you, I'm sure you will get better. That's what Lisa said. They said it was something psychological. The bruise on your forehead is probably going to leave a mark though, but you're a guy after all. Scars are a badge of honor. I could not respond. Lisa explained to me what the doctor had said. It wasn't because of medical reasons that I couldn't move. Supposedly some wiring within my mind had come undone. Because of that, I couldn't make myself move, and I couldn't even make facial expressions. Moreover, Lisa did her best to convince the doctor to hide my identity. There were medical bills to deal with though, so that was impossible. After my identity had been extracted via iris scan and finger painting, my family was soon notified. I wasn't angry with Lisa at all. I wouldn't have any qualms, even if Lisa killed me. Well, I am going to feed you plenty today. No need to feel embarrassed about it, okay? She giggled. Her laugh seemed to dry. In front of the church, Saralt and Chris waited, as did Toyama. Aside from how I was, I didn't imagine I would see them again. But just like people visiting someone at the hospital, they were all smiles. A gathering of losers, though that's what I thought. I couldn't help but feel very happy to see them waiting for me. Now then, everyone, let's go to the garden on the 3rd floor. At Lisa's words, everyone headed towards the 3rd floor. I'm gonna let you thoroughly enjoy my lap pillow service. She said that as we passed through the living room. A wonderful smell wafted through the living room, making me wonder if it was the lingering smell of food being made. And then, just when we got to the 2nd floor, Chris ran off to get something. I need to get the drinks. Thanks for the help. Be careful. Oh, looks like you're getting used to this, aren't you, Chris? Chris shrugged her shoulders and smiled. Both her arms filled with drinks as she moved carefully. Where's Hagana? At Lisa's question, Chris stopped climbing the steps, then walked back down slowly. No words, and then she pointed at the door to her room. Lisa nodded, and Chris's face stiffened somewhat as she started climbing the stairs again. She can be a difficult child. Though Lisa said that, it was clear that she didn't really believe her own words. That's how I felt anyway. Hagana wasn't a difficult person. She was honest and straightforward, but just awkward. Hagana. Lisa did that on purpose as she knocked on her door. Hagana did not respond. Geez, it's Hal. Hal's come home. Though Lisa said that, there was still no response. Lisa looked back at me and shrugged her shoulders. Hagana, I'm opening the door. And with that, she opened the door. The last time that door was opened, it was night. It was the time Hagana had a screaming match with Toyama, and then she had elbowed Lisa in the face. Hagana had curled into a ball in the corner of her room and shook all over. This time it wasn't the same as that failure from before. She was alright, wasn't she? I imagine she was alright. Hagana wouldn't break before something like that. We fought together. There's no way she would be this weak. But there was a deliberate, discomforting pain in my heart. Without a doubt, Hagana did not stop trading for the sake of her own dreams. Through it all, she stayed rational. The one who thought with her head was Hagana after all. Despite that, I rejected Hagana. At the last moment, I rejected her. For that, I wanted to apologize. Huh? As Lisa murmured that, I came to my senses. Lisa turned away from the door and walked past me before heading to the living room. She opened and closed the door to the bathroom, then headed towards the church. The door to Hagana's room was left open as it was. Before long, with a stiffened face, Lisa passed me again and ran up the stairs. In the middle of this fine day, I was left alone. Beyond the half-opened door, there was but an empty space. I sat in the wheelchair and closed my eyes. Hal. I recalled Hagana's voice and how she addressed me. Hagana. In the end, what was her real name anyway? In the midst of this fine day, with this pain in my heart, I felt lightheaded. Hagana had disappeared from the church. My teenage years like that came to an end. The stock market that day, with no regard to our own circumstances, should have been busy. And that's the end. And I can't believe it's actually been finished after all. Alright. So we got two modes right there. So we got all the CGs leading from the beginning to the end. There's music mode, there's all the soundtracks to it. But other than that, nothing else. Though in most cases, when it comes, I mean, you gotta be very in deep thoughts if you want to know the story of the world and Economica. It's most cases mostly the economy and such. So I'm not sure. I don't know if I could play the second episode or I could or buy it myself because because I kind of wonder where did Hagana go? Because in most cases, I believe next episode is I believe Hal's already grown up. I could be wrong. I don't know. Though, however, I will be ending it here. So, hope you guys enjoyed the whole series. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you later.